Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is Disaster Inc. number 2. Now, this is a really fascinating series published by AfterShock. Really original and creative. It's written by Joe Harris, who's the creator of it. Sebastian Piriz is the artist and colorist. Carlos and Mangual is the letterer. Alright, so the series concept is Disaster Inc. is a tourism organization, and they take people into high-risk spaces. So this first arc is all about Fukushima, which is the area in Japan that had a nuclear meltdown. I think it was due to an earthquake which set off a tsunami, if I remember right. But it's a highly irradiated area. This is kind of based on a true story, at least the disaster aspect of it. And this tourist group takes people into these riskier areas, and the concept's a real concept. Like, there are tourism groups that will take you into places like Chernobyl. So there's some truth to this and reality to it. But what Harris does is really fascinating. Is kind of infuse this real world aspect with a horror aspect, and it works really, really well. It really shouldn't be surprising, is Joe Harris has a pedigree in horror and has done amazing work on X-Files, the comic series, and this does have a kind of an X-Files-ish tinge to it all. So what's interesting reading this is it reminds me of something, and I can't put my finger on what, and it's kind of driving me insane. And it's not, like a rip-off or anything like that. Like, I can't think of what it is, but it just feels familiar in a good way. So the interesting, like, the comic is these people are in this area. There are, of course, a lot of jackasses that most of them you're not supposed to be rooting for. In fact, probably cheering on their deaths and getting killed in various creative ways, like horror films you kind of want to do. At least I always thought that was kind of fun for the horror films I did watch. And, this issue, the bodies start piling up a little bit, and you kind of learn a little bit more about the history of the area and some interesting aspects of what seems to be haunting it. And I don't want to give a lot away, and I really don't want to ruin it, but it works. It works really well. And I think Harris has done a solid job of just mixing a whole bunch of things together in a really original story. Like, I can't think of another series or comic or anything like that that has this sort of plot. The idea of, like, ghosts kind of defending their area and causing people to maybe kill themselves or die in horrific ways, that's what feels familiar to me. And I just can't think of what it is. Again, I can't think of what it is. But it, the concept of this disaster tourism, like, really makes it original and has tons of potential. Like, you can easily see every single arc maybe taking part in a different place and giving us a different crew to potentially see butchered. The art is, I think, pretty solid. It doesn't have the horror trope-ish genre, like that vibe that you see to it, like that in a lot of us stories and comics and all that. It feels very, I don't want to say innocent, but like there's definitely a style to it that has you keeping your guard down a little bit, so when shit really does hit the fan, it catches you. Just gonna stop here as far as showing stuff off. So yeah, like it's a nice mix. Like, I really like it. I think overall, going off the first two issues, the first arc, the first trade is going to be stronger than each individual issue, but the individual issues I think are really solid. I want to see what happens next. I want to see where the series goes. I want to say who makes it, who survives, and how do they get killed, and all that. All the good horror stuff. So in that way, it succeeds a lot of ways. But there's some comics that you just kind of want to go through and catch everything and read it. And like a good horror film, like, I want that hour and a half fly through, see people get butchered. Like, that's the horror I generally like, the slasher stuff. Old school slasher stuff. And I think that kind of reminds me a little bit of that sort of concept. Without the gore and the over-the-top murder. So yeah, like, I like it. I think it's a cool concept. It's a nice build up. The first 2 issues I think really sets the ground of the atmosphere, the location, the characters, gives you hints as to what they're going up against. So really, it's a good setup for the first 2 issues, and I think the second issue gives you more people to cheer against. Success, very successful. So this is out in comic shops now. You can go get it. We got a link to comic shop or to shops that you can go get it. Or sorry, first we'll start off. We have a link underneath. You can put in your zip code to tell if a shop's near you. No shop, no problem. We do have some links where you can go purchase it yourself. Some affiliate links. They are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that. And some of them are to comic shops, so you can go support them. And speaking of support, I want to thank AfterShock for hooking us up with the review copy. You appreciate it, and thank you for watching. Now, if you are into comics, if you're into horror comics, if you're into AfterShock, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.